But then we're going to get into our top 14 rankings for Super Wild Card Weekend. Let us know down in the comments, of course, what you agree with, what you disagree with. Should always be tons of fun. But without further ado, let's get into it. At number 14, we both have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think we both share the same sentiment when we say this team is, not. They have the head coaching, they have the talent, but their star player is going to be missing in this first postseason game. And quite frankly, if Jacksonville doesn't sell the bag, they aren't in this spot. So to me, they are the worst team left in the postseason. But your thoughts here about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, they, find a way to get in. That's pretty much to it.
Yeah, absolutely. At number 13, we both also have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're also going to have a lot of the same teams here on the bottom half of the list. Tampa Bay, again, they have, they've been fun and they've had their moments. However, when it comes to winning these big time games against big time opponents, we don't know if we want to trust Baker Mayfield and the rest of this unit compared to these big time teams. I think that's all it comes down to. At number 12, the Green Bay Packers. You guys know I'm a big Jordan Love fan. Jordan Love, I've been telling you guys in the friend group for years, this dude is going to be able to take over for Aaron Rodgers and not only take over for him, but he's going to have that same fire. And I think he's going to have this team in the same spot Aaron Rodgers was having them for so many years. And then at number 11, Amir, I'll let you take the floor. The Houston Texans. Any thoughts about them so far?
Yeah, I mean, the Texans have always, been just outside the top 10 all year long.
Yes.
With Stroud, with that passing attack, even without taking Dell, Stroud is still playing amazing. I think, I mean, this team was literally on the verge of, moving into the top 10. If Stroud doesn't get hurt, miss those couple of weeks, I mean, this team could literally be, a higher seed right now.
Yeah, I think I had him as high as 8 before CJ Stroud went down, of course, in the weekly rankings. But then we shift over into the top 10. We start here with the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, the reigning NFC champions. Tough matchup this weekend, shouldn't be, but tough matchup for them against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Given all the injuries, of course, we're still taking Philly in that matchup. However, they're at number 10, and they dropped 4 spots for me, 2 for you. And right now, I mean, again, they have the talent, but can they put it together when the time is right? And then we move over to number 9. The Kansas City Chiefs are at number 9 for you. I have them at number 8. I'll give you the floor here. Why are the Chiefs this low despite having Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, I left them this low. I mean, just based off of the way they've been playing. And I'm the kind of person where it's like, I'm not going to rank somebody based off of how good they are, but more so how they're playing. And
Right.
and right now they're playing like the ninth best team in the playoffs right now, which is
No,
why I have them so low.
at number 8, you have the LA Rams. I have them at number 6. We'll talk about them here soon. But of course, we're both pretty high on them coming into this postseason. They're getting hot at the right time. Anything else to add there for Matt Stafford and the crew?
Not much to it. This team is a fun team to watch. That's like you just mentioned. If I'm looking at some teams that's scary, this team is on the list.
At number 7, we both have the Detroit Lions, a team that I've been super high on. At one point, I had them as the number 1 team in football. That, of course, crumbled in my face, and I got made fun of for weeks. Anyway, you have them at number 7 as well. Any thoughts here about the Detroit Lions? They're home. And right now, I mean, you have them over the LA Rams. Maybe that is who you picked in that matchup. You guys will have to skip back to find out. But any additional thoughts about the Detroit Lions here?
No, not much. I mean, this Lions team, has been inconsistent. Just like I keep bringing up. I think there's secondary issues that might hold them back in the long run, this playoff run. But as of right now, I have them as the seventh best team.
But then we move over to your number 6 team. I have them at number 9, maybe the most explosive team in football, like we mentioned, the Miami Dolphins. Why do you have the Dolphins here over teams like the Lions, the Rams, even the Chiefs, and of course the Philadelphia Eagles here this weekend?
Yeah, you might think I have them too high, but personally, I feel like this Dolphins team matches up well. All these teams are under them. And I think their passing attack, their explosiveness, despite all the injuries, they still have a great head coach, great run game, in the chain and all that stuff. And, I think if they were to match up against all these teams, they definitely give them a run for their money.
No, absolutely. I have them low for the reason that you mentioned there. Just the injuries, they're piling up at the worst time. As again, we've seen other teams like the Cleveland Browns where they've had injuries throughout the entire year, so they've had to adapt all year, and they've had time to find that new identity. The Dolphins, I mean, it's all kind of piling up right now, and if even some of their star guys are ready this weekend, they're not going to be 100%. So I just moved them down a couple spots, and we're still waiting for those big time wins. Moving over here to the top 5, and again, I'm spoiling 1 and 2 because, well, you at home, you know who 1 and 2 are. It's just a matter of which order. Amir and Amir both have the Baltimore Ravens at 1. The San Francisco Niners at 2. And again, you can argue each way here, but these teams played. The Ravens won. They get the number 1 spot. Both teams have the number 1 seed. But then we go over to number 5. And Amir, who do you have here at number 5? Looks like you got the Dallas Cowboys, but why over some other teams here on this list?
Yeah, Dallas. They're a team that's loaded. In my opinion, they're probably the third best constructed roster in the league, and like they kind of broke that narrative, in the season that they can win, big time games. They were pretty much, the reason why Philly started to decline and fall apart. They went ahead and beat, Detroit, which was a huge win in my opinion. That's controversial, obviously, but I think this team is still legit.
Yeah.
But preseason, I had them as my Super Bowl favorites. That obviously changed now because what we've seen in the regular season. But this team is still a great constructed roster. In my opinion, Dak has been throwing the ball the best in the league. And I had them as the 5th best. And those 2 teams ahead of them, I think they're undoubtedly better.
Yeah, no, I had number 4 too, and to me, I think it is an argument between 4 and 5, just because one team's healthy, one team doesn't have all their star players. But regardless, same thing there. They have the offense, they have the defense, but can they get it done? This is the same story, different year for Dallas. Can they get over the hump? At number 4, this might be some bias. And you know what? If you want to call it bias, I'm okay with that. Let us know in the comments. The Cleveland Browns at number 4 for you. They're at number 5 for me. And just like I mentioned with the Dolphins, this team is just resilient. I think they embody the city of Cleveland. I think this is a team that, after, even though they've suffered so many injuries to starting players, might I add, they've continued to fight and they've continued to find a new way. Like you talk about each and every week, we were a run-heavy team, early in the season. That's always been Kevin Stefanski's identity. We've switched to an air-raided offense with Joe Flacco. We're just adapting. And I think, to win at the highest level, you need to be able to adapt. And we've done that each and every week, despite all the injuries. But any additional thoughts here about the hometown team?
This Browns team, people might call me biased, but personally, this team has looked amazing. Despite the injuries, the way they reacted to it, fought through it. This Browns team plays harder than any other team in the league, in my opinion. Only the team you can make the debate for is Baltimore. But having 26% of your salary cap, hurt, still winning games. The track record of the teams that they beat. The only team in the league that beat both the number 1 seeds in each conference. This team is undoubtedly the 4th best team in the league, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And we beat some of these teams with an injured quarterback or no quarterback in the Niners game. We had PJ Walker, so basically no quarterback. At the number 3 spot, we both have the second best team in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills. This is a team that, again, is getting hot at the right time. They've won 5 straight games. They're going to have a relatively easy matchup as far as playoff-wise this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are banged up. I think, this is a team that most would argue is the biggest threat to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to fight it too hard, but I think the Browns might be the biggest threat to the Baltimore Ravens, and that would be our second round matchup, of course, in our predictions. But any thoughts here about Josh Allen and the Bills? Can they finally get over the hump, just like the Dallas Cowboys?
Man, this is a really scary team. The fact that Josh Allen isn't playing the Josh Allen standards and they're still just running through teams, it's honestly scary because, in the playoffs, he might flip that switch. And when he does, his lights out.